Hello, it's Henry, the computer guy. We are back with Excel, and actually we are going to talk about subsidiary ICT paper 3 Excel. So remember we talked about our folder, which is having the files that we are going to be using, the support file and the question. So we need to create another folder. So we are going to right click onto our desktop, then we say new, then create the folder where we are going to include that, or where we are going to save that question that we are attempting. So we can rename it as UNEB 2018 paper 3. So we shall be saving that file into our folder, which is paper 3. So we come back to our folder. Of course, we are going to look for 2018 again, but paper 3 now. We open it. That's how it looks like. So we zoom in such that we can see them clearly again. So we look for that Excel number, and it is specifically, so using so it's here. It's also number 2. Again, we are going to repeat the same procedure of cropping it and putting it into our Excel such that we can follow along. So we come, of course, we know how we can bring the snipping tool. I said we can click on the start, then type SN. So it will bring the snipping tool. You're going to crop part of that that question. So we need number 2 again. So we shall copy this and paste it into our file. So now the question tells us that using a spreadsheet software, open the file over time.xls and save it as your name and personal number. Remember, we have the support file. Remember, I told you where we have the support file. The folder is work upon, and we have that support file. So 2018 support file, 2018. 2017, 2017, 2018. So we see it here. It is paper 3. I think it is here. So now what we can do, again, we can come onto the start. We can click on any Excel file, but they have told us to what? To open. That means that I'm going to come onto my office button. I'll come and say open. I pick the desktop. Remember, we are having that information into the work upon folder. Then support file 2018, and it is paper 3. So we load that file they have told us. Are we together? So now what we are going to do, we are going to paste our question here such that we can follow along. The question is there. Using a spreadsheet software, open the file over time. We have opened over time. You see the name here, it is over time. And save it as your name and personal number. So we are saving it as our name. You come to the office button again. Don't forget, save as. Don't use save, because when you use save, it is going to specifically modify the existing support file we are having. And remember, when you're doing an exam, some people are always going to be using that support file again for their revision. So what we do, we use save as, and it gives us an option of either changing the name and the location of that file. So we click on save as. So look for save as. You'll go to what we call the desktop. Then remember, we are dealing with paper 3, and we save as our name. Let's I call it again Henry. Let me use small letters. Henry. This is 001, and it's a workbook. Simple as that. So we are done with the first one. Format the data. Format the date column to display date in this format. So they want 31, then the dash, then February 2015. So they want us to change the date in this format. So we look for the date, highlight our date, then right click and come and say format cells. Of course, these are dates. Are we together? So when we look into this information, do we have that date here? We can look through and see whether we have that date here. So we have this. Is it the same they are having? I think it is the same. So we have 14, then this is March, representing this is 2 numbers, then there. So we pick this format and see. No, is it the same? No, it is not the same. This is having 2 digits. So what we are going to do, we are going to come back again, right click, format. So we can come to custom. Remember, we have that date, but we can customize it in any way that we feel like. So we come to custom, and remember, the first one is having the days. So we are going to come to where we have the type here and change it. So remember, we have that date, but represented with the 2. So we remove that slash, we put the, then we remove this, we put M. So specifically, if we put 2 M's, they will represent it in form of numbers, but we want what? So we add another M. Are we together? Are you seeing the sample up here? It is representing it as Feb. But when we add another M, it puts an abbreviation. So if you add another M, it will write the entire word there. So we need only the abbreviation. We wrap this again. So we put that, the year here. I think it is that format. So it is this format. So after that, we click OK. I think we are done with that one. It is only having one mark. Then we come to part C. Insert in cell E2 the column name regular wage. So we look for E2. E2 is here. So they want it to be regular, capital, regular wage. Of course, if it doesn't fit there, we can wrap it. Then it fits there. Now, after putting that, they are telling us that compute in it wages and for regular hours at a rate of shillings 3,100 per what? Per hour. That means that every hour a person is working regularly, it is charged this amount of what? Money. 3,100 shillings. So we can do that in 2 ways. We can use what we call the absolute, or we can first of all include the money there, then per hour we multiply. That means that we are going to, if you want to get what we call the regular wage for that employee, you're going to get the number of hours that employee has worked times the amount of money per each what? Per each hour. Are we together? So first of all, I can come and say rate per hour. Rate per hour. That means that that is going to be 3,100. That is the money. Are we together? But it's representing it in form of a date. So we have to change it. Format, right click, come and say format cells. We come back to currency. But it has no decimal places, we put it to 0. I think it is that. Not so. The person is supposed to get this. But remember, we can also include this shilling symbol. We can come and say format, right click, format cells. We come into that, then we can customize it into our format that we want. So we click on the 0, it is the one representing the other money which is remaining there. Then in front of that, what we are going to do, we open quotes, we put the shilling symbol. SHS. Then we close. You can put some space. So that's how it will look like as you see the sample we are having here. Specifically that. So when we make a calculation, this won't be disturbing us because it is only a formatting. So that is called number formatting. So this shillings is going to be multiplied by the number of hours a person works. So we come here and say, remember we have said that we are going to multiply the number of hours times the regular, the rate per hour. So equals, we are going to get this or this one. You can begin with any that you feel like. So we are going to get this one. But remember, if you're going to use it when it is here, it has to be absolute. So we press function 4 to lock it. Times what? The number of what? Regular hours worked. So press enter. So you can scroll down. Are we together? So here we don't have any, so we end there. That means that it's going to keep this one locked for all. Locked, but going on changing the values or the number of hours that person has worked. But you can as well do it in the same way. For example, if I come and say here, I can come and say that, let's say 3,100. So equals, we begin with an equals sign, 3,100 times the number of hours worked. That one will also give us the answer. but not absolute. Remember, the other money is going to be there, the other money is there. But if you want to use that, so that means that it is not always advisable to use values, because if someone comes and changes this value, let's say if I say 200 here, my formula up here will change automatically, whereas this one, if let's say we have been using this as just copying, this one won't change. It will be having the money as 100, yet this one has been changed to. So it is always not advisable to use the values in a formula there like that. So specifically, we can use the addresses. So I'm going to remove this because that was just a by the way. So I prefer using it when it is absolute than using the values, because when a change has been made, it won't be notifying that Excel that let's say someone has changed a value there. So what we use, or why do we use the absolute, or why do we use the cells address? It specifically helps us in updating the results. Whenever any change has been made, it will be changing that information in only that cell that we have identified or we have used in the formula. But when you use numbers, it won't be giving you that. I think we are together. Then we come to another question. Compute in column F the wages earned for overtime. That means that we call it, they have told us that we are going to call it overtime wage. So we are telling us to put overtime wage. Need it in capital. So we can wrap it, of course, it is that one, overtime wage. Then remember, overtime is given, it will always be added on to that regular time that that person has worked, and they will be giving in that money. That means that for overtime, they have given us that overtime hours, but each overtime hour worked is going to be earning 3300 or 3,300. Any overtime that you include in will always be earning you 3,300. That means that if I come down here and I say over overtime, can say overtime rate. Overtime rate, of course, they have told us that it is 3,300. We can also include that symbol as we did in the other case. Format cells, you can come, of course, it's going to be a currency. We don't need the decimal places. We can come to the custom, we come to the 0. Then in front of it, we open quotes. Then we put the shillings. Then we close the quotes. We leave a space. Are we together? So when you click here, it doesn't show the shilling sign. Even if you click here, it doesn't show it. Then we come to this. So that means that we are going to multiply this and the overtime time to get the overtime wage. So equals, we get the money that we want. Remember, I told you it has to be absolute, because when you don't make it, okay, let's first do it when it is not absolute, such that you can see the difference and you see what I mean. Then times then the overtime hours. So press enter. It will give you that first value, but when you drag down, it is going to give you zeros. That means that it is calculated that when you drag down here, it also goes down this side, and here we have a 0, we have a 0, we have a 0. So the reason as to why we keep it absolute is to keep it locked. Are we together? So I will repeat it so we know the reason as to why we are making it absolute now. So equals, I'll click on my money, then I make it absolute by pressing function 4 to put dollar signs for me, making it absolute. Then I multiply with the overtime hours that person has worked. Then enter. So after that, we can as well drag down. It gives us the answer. So it is going to keep it absolute. It doesn't change it. When you look up here, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. But these ones are changing. For them, they are going to be remaining relative, because the opposite of absolute is relative. Now we come back to our question. It does ask for what? Compute in the GUI the total wage earned by the laborers. That means that total wage has to be the regular plus the overtime. That means that we need the total put in capital, total wage. Now we wrap it also. If we come here, we are going to add this one. That is going to be equals summation. Sum of what? The regular wage and the overtime wage. After that, we drag. So it is going to add these two and get the answer for us as the total wage. Because the total wage is equal to the regular wage plus the overtime. If someone has not worked overtime, we shall add a 0, so it remains that regular wage only. Now, compute in the, of course, we have done that, total wage, and by name the column gross. Okay, they have told us to make it gross. That is it. We change it. They have told us to make it name it the column gross. Then in column H, compute the income tax. That is 17% of the gross. Of course, we can come down here and say we have our tax. Then we can come and say it is 17%. Are we together? So they want us to calculate this, but basing on the gross pay. It is 17% of this one. So that means that we shall come and say, name the column tax. We shall come and put our tax as usual. Then they have told us that it is 17% of the gross what? Gross. So we shall say equals, we come and click onto our gross. But remember, we have to make it absolute. So we press function 4 to make it absolute. Times the gross. We press enter. That is very simple. It will give us that value. That means that it is locked into only this cell. So when you don't make it absolute, it will be giving you other zeros down here because it has zeros error. Then we continue. Compute the net pay for each laborer. Remember the net is specifically that amount of money that you're going to take home after all deductions have been made. So after deducting the taxes, you're going to remain with the net. So they have told us to let's name it net pay. Now under the net pay, we are going to get what we call the gross minus the tax. So it is equals the gross. We can't even use the brackets. Of course, we can say we have the gross minus the tax. It leaves us with the amount of money we are going to take home after all the deductions have been made. Are we together? We press enter. So we come down here, we drag. So that means that they are going to get this value in G minus the H. Specifically, that is it. Then they are telling us that compute we are done with that, revise the title and include the computed information. We have computed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are revising our title. That means that we are going to extend our heading. So we first merge them all. So number of hours worked by casual laborers. We can also add what we have computed, the regular wage. Have the regular wage, comma, we have the overtime wage. Then we have the gross. We have the tax and the net pay. And the net pay. We have revised our heading. So we have included. So it might be, I'm not saying that everyone is supposed to be having what I'm having. So you can put anything that you feel like is suitable for that for that table. Now, revise the title. We are done with that. Use a column chart to illustrate each laborer's regular and overtime wage. So we need the regular wage, the overtime wage, and the names of the laborers. That means that we are going to highlight those values or those columns. That means that we are going to highlight this one. Remember, I told you if you want to highlight more than one column, you press Ctrl. So if I don't press Ctrl, I just come here, it's going to leave the other one or deselect the other one. So I'll come back, I select the names, Ctrl, I'll select the regular wage, I'll select the overtime, Then I'll come, they have told me they need a column chart. I'll come to insert, then look for the charts, I look for the column. You can pick any column of your choice, but specifically you have to label it well. Remember this side, you can come to the layout, come and put the title above. We can put the axis. They say we have the horizontal, then we have the axis. We can also get the vertical. Are we together? Now you can say a chart, showing, so remember, regular, comma, overtime, wage, against the names of the employees or laborers. Are we together? That is specifically the heading. So now you can make it bigger if you want. You can drag, becomes somehow bigger like that. Then afterwards, you're going to put in the axis, the x-axis and the y. So you highlight them, then delete. So here we have regular, and overtime wage. Specifically, that's what we're having. Regular and overtime wage. You can do it in any way that you feel like. There are even more other formats that you can change and include it onto your chart. Okay, let's read through our question. Use a column chart to illustrate the label's regular and overtime wage. Of course, that is it. It is done. Then apply all borders to your data. Then after, you save and print. That means that we can put this one below our work. Then we can come back and highlight the information we are having and include all borders. Are we together? I think it is very easy. So this specifical has been UNEB. Let's put it in capital. It has been UNEB ICT 2018, and it is paper 3. So we can merge this one into one. Then we can make it bold, then give it a color. So specifically, this has been our tutorial about Excel UNEB ICT 2018. Previously, I covered a tutorial on paper 2. I think you have been following. You can also try it at home. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.